Hi, Dad.
Good to see you.
So I'm here with Brian Park. We're filming this today on Friday, May 21st, 2021 at 3:11 p.m. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to bring you on again is because I want to discuss pre-book versus ATS, available
Okay.
to sell stock business.
Stock business.
Okay, so this is something that I want to discuss because I personally feel like this is probably the most important thing that people who are trying to start new businesses, they never think about this. This is something that's overlooked, but it's a very, very big deal. Because I've said it in multiple videos, if BJD ever goes out of business, it's going to be because of inventory control. And these two business models are what people basically use to determine how much they're going to buy, and they base their entire production cycle based on these two business models.
Yeah.
And since you've done both business models extensively, and you've done a combination of both sometimes, and sometimes you've done pure pre-book, sometimes you did pure stock, I thought you'd be a great person to bring in to just kind of get general feedback, because you're coming from a place of experience. So before we go any further, why don't you tell us what a pre-book business is and what an ATS business is?
Pre-book business is like, back to old time. Before I would say like before 2020, most of people, they do pre-book business, which means, before they sell, they have to develop complete sample.
Right.
Okay, so let's say if you want to do sportswear or collection or classification line, you need to do complete development.
So before you talk any further, I'm going to explain basically to everybody what you mean by that. So typically when you develop a clothing line, what happens is there's a design department, there's a development department, there's a production department, and basically the role of a designer at the end of the day for most people think designers, designers are the ones who put together the full line. But actually what designers do is designers give you a template. They give you a tech pack. Basically what a designer does is they give you a good drawing of the garment that they want to do. And it's up to the developer to find the fabric, to find the print, and find all this stuff. What Brian is saying when he says they develop a whole sample is basically this. That's kind of where the term salesman samples comes in, is because once a designer puts together a tech pack, buyers want to see the actual design in garment form. And that garment form is the salesman sample that Brian's talking about. So in a pre-book business, you're saying you have to sample up the entire collection.
Line.
Right.
So like if you want to buy a car, you want to look at the car, what you want to buy. It's same as like in the clothing business.
Right.
You have to have a complete sample line, so that you can be able to show to your buyer.
Right.
So back to before 2020, majority of a business, whether you want to sell to a department store or you want to sell to the regular specialty store or chain store, you want to present your product so that way, let's say you like a design like maybe 100 different SKU of a designing, and then you set up the appointment with your buyer. Okay, let's say you want to sell to the department store, so you set up the appointment with the department store and they present your product.
So let's say Macy's.
Yeah, for Macy's, okay. So Macy's, they have to look at your product and then they pick what they want, and then they give you a delivery day. So we always have a minimum 5-month delivery lead time. For example, like if I want to ship to the fall, a lot of people, they put the fall product starting July. So that means we have at least 5-month lead time. So we needed to book the business around February.
So basically in a pre-book business, what happens is your company puts together full sampling of the full line.
Before.
Right, and then you present it to these buyers in February.
Let's say if you want to July and deliver to the July, you have to present it to around the February.
Right.
And then and then people you set up the appointment, they pick and choose.
So they pick and choose what they want.
And then after you get the PO from the customer, and then you do the production and deliver.
So basically, what he's saying is, in the pre-book line, you do a full sampling, you break the line 5 months before you want it to be in the stores.
Yes.
The buyers will come in, they'll pick and choose what they want,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you, I want 1 million pieces of that.
Yes.
And you produce 1 million pieces to deliver in 5 months.
Yes.
And that's the pre-book business model.
So in United States, we, or go by season. We have a spring and summer, and then we have a fall and a holiday season. So what we do is a lot of retailer, whether you are a department store or you have a specialty store, they come to the show and they buy the product. So
This was pre-COVID.
yeah.
I don't know if there's any shows
so
right now. But yeah.
Before
But-
that, there is two major shows in United States. Two major. One is in New York. One is in
Vegas.
West Coast in the Vegas. Before we call it the Magic Show. Magic Show started in 1974.
Also, Magic's the name of the company.
Yeah.
That it's not just called the Magic. The Magic's the name of the company. Okay.
Yeah,
anyways,
show. So they started with I think it's San Diego, and they moved to the Los Angeles, and right now it's like a 25 years ago, they do the Magic Show in the Las Vegas Convention Center. So for the spring product, spring product, they always do the show around July. That's the last day, July, and then for the fall product show, they do in
February.
I think it's February, March.
February, March.
They do show. So that's the last day of booking a business. So always, the people they start breaking a market at least 2 months before the Magic Show. So they start selling and they book the business as much as they can. And the Magic was the last show, so you book as much as you can through the department store, through the specialty store, and everything. And then you assemble all
So you
the
gather
order
everything.
together.
Yeah.
And then you
Go into production.
do the production
Right.
and then deliver the good.
So
advantage is doing that. You don't have to carry a lot of inventory.
Let's discuss the stock business first before we kind of compare and contrast.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, what's the stock business? ATS business. What is ATS business?
Stock business is, you don't do the show. Okay? And then whatever you believe, you can be able to sell it. You do the designing and then you buy your own.
So
Sometimes you get a little feedback, but you
own the product.
you own the product. You're taking a risk.
Right.
But if you don't sell that, and then you own it.
Yeah.
And that's a very dangerous business.
Okay. So now let's talk about the pros and the cons.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, because you made the ATS business sound really shitty right now, but BJD right now is almost like a 95% ATS business. So we run a pure stock business right now. And so for us right now, now we could kind of discuss the pros and cons of it. So in the beginning, like you said, up until like when did we become a stock business?
I would say like the last 15 years.
Like 15 years, right? But then when did we move over to the business model we have right now, like where we do pure stock?
Okay, before, we done a lot of business with the department store.
Sure.
And then, we done a lot of business with the chain store. And then, the market is keep changing. And then that time, department store controlled all the retail business. And then, some of the chain, store, they're running all the business. And then they are huge. So they always plan the business. Okay? And then, because if they don't plan the business, they don't be able to fill up their store. So they always plan 6 months in advance, sometimes 8 months in advance, they plan the business. So, and then there was enough business. But right now, department stores are struggling, and all the retailers are struggling, and then discounter is coming strong and strong and strong. And then they don't want to, but a lot of discounter store is, they don't want to order the product and wait 6 months.
So that's
yeah.
So you just highlighted a big negative of the pre-book business.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, sorry. Please continue.
Because they don't want to waiting 6 months and to receive the product. Because right now it's a fashion is keep changing. So a lot of retailer, they don't want to commit the product 6 months before,
So
8 months before.
So what they don't want to do is they don't want to buy something in February when they're going to get it in July. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
So if whatever they buy in February, they want it in the stores right now.
Right now.
They don't want it half a year later.
They don't want to, 6 months, later or 7 months later. But right now, because of fashion is changing, and then they don't want to commit it something that they don't be able to sell it or not. So what they do is a lot of retailer, they become smart. What do you have in stock? Right now, you can be able to ship in next to 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So they come and look at it. Okay, I like this, this, and this. They try. If it says good, they come back and they buy. At least they can be able to try something immediately. If it works, they come back and then they buy more. But pre-book, they cannot do that because they buy something. It says good, and then they want to go back, order, and it's too late because you got to wait 6 months. So,
right.
Your business is very limited.
Right.
Yeah, this is,
So that's like the advantage of having a stock business.
So advantage in stock is so you can turn the goods fast, and then you can, do, like if you have inventory right now, you can do a lot of business. But again, disadvantage is if your product is no good, and then you own it. And then,
stuck with it,
you get stuck with the business.
And I mean, not only that too, it's I think a stock business also we're talking about the advantages to the buyer, to the buyer. Yeah. And so basically the reason why people were forced into getting into a stock business is because the buyers want to take on less risk.
Yeah.
So they're putting it all on us.
Yeah, on us.
Right. They're putting it all on us. And so basically this is basically to help out the buyers.
Yeah.
However, I also want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
It's I find that by doing a stock business, it's a lot easier to control quality and price with the factories. Because the problem with being really, really safe and conservative with their pre-book business is especially nowadays, nowadays, I mean, how many department stores are there? Really, let's count them. Okay, so Macy's is still around a little bit. Yeah, Bloomingdale's a little bit, right?
Yeah, they are very small.
Very, very small, right? Are there any of the department stores right now that do big? Who else is there?
Kohl's,
okay, Kohl's. Tilly's?
No, they're a specialty store.
Oh, Tilly's is a specialty store?
Yeah, specialty store.
Yeah, so who else is there right now? Maybe.
I mean, it's not a lot.
Is there anyone else?
No, I mean so not a department store, but clubs.
Yeah.
The clubs, they.
Right. Okay. So unless you get lucky and do a club business, but then besides that, but clubs don't shop magic, do they?
Oh, they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
okay.
they do, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so then there's also the club businesses.
Yeah.
So the biggest issue is if you try doing a pre-book business in this market, what's going to happen is let's say Macy's and Kohl's and whoever, XYZ, let's say you find 5 department stores.
Yeah.
What they're going to do is, let's say they like that tie-dye t-shirt.
Yeah.
That tie-dye t-shirt. Let's say they like it and they're going to buy it. What they're going to book is 300 units?
No. Whenever they do, they have to put it into, depends upon the.
Yeah, so pre-book, what do you think that order?
I mean, whenever we do business with the Macy's, each pieces, even JCPenney, whenever we do business.
Yeah, but JCPenney's gone.
I mean,
back then, I know, but I'm talking right now.
I used to get between 6,000 through 12,000 pieces per colorway.
Yeah, but what about right now?
The right now it's tough. Everybody's just struggling.
Yeah, so they're going to give 300 pieces. 600?
I don't know.
1,000?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's be nice. Let's say 2,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2,000. Let's say you get 2,000 pieces per color per one item. Let's say 5 department stores. Let's say you hit a home run.
Yeah.
All 5 department stores in America, they love that T-shirt and they're going to buy 2,000 pieces each. What you're stuck with is a 10,000 piece order.
Yeah, it's not enough.
You're stuck with a 10,000 piece order, and what you have to do is you got to go to a factory.
Yeah.
You go to a factory with a 10,000 piece order, and then tell them, look, guys. This is the order I got. This is the only order you're going to get for the next 3 months. For the next 3 months, this is the order that you're going to get. And so what the factory's left with is with 10,000 pieces, and they got to feed their families. They got to feed all these workers, and this one supplier is going to give them a 10,000 piece order. it's just like this is kind of where it's like really really difficult surviving as a pre-book business and a 10,000 piece order. Like let's say you're in the same factory that's doing Levi's production, you know, and Levi's right now is they're pumping out hundreds of thousands of units a month, and you give them a small 10,000 piece order. You know, it's very difficult to control a factory like that. You know, I mean, it's very difficult to explain to the factory, I'm important. I'm a big buyer. I have this 10,000 piece order for you. It's very difficult to control anyone. It's very difficult to get a good quality.
That's the reason that, like, it's a very difficult to start the business as a wholesaler right now, unless if you have a big pocket, if you have a big
So
money.
if you have money.
Yeah, money, or, and then, you got to know exactly where to sell, and then you have to have a customer to start new business immediately. Back all day, if you have a good designing, and everybody has opportunity to do business, because I started business with a pre-cut. I set the very nice line, and then we presented to the older retailer, and then whenever we place an order, and there is no risk. There is no risk, but right now, there isn't enough store to buy pre-book business, other than department store and other than
the big three.
Big clubs. That's it. But right now, the United States whole the retail market is run by discounter, and then.
So before we get into this conversation, I want to actually talk about this. Okay, so like right now, Macy's. How many stores does Macy's have?
I think so. They close a lot of stores right now. So I don't know exactly.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, they had about 600 stores.
They have 600 stores, right? What about Nordstrom's? How many stores does Nordstrom have?
Nordstrom, regular Nordstrom is like, I'm not really sure, maybe a couple of hundred.
Couple hundred?
But they have a more Nordstrom rack.
So how many Nordstrom racks do they have?
They got about more than 300, right?
So
but they buy no pre-book.
Right.
They buy stock.
Well, hold on. So like, let's say Nordstrom has around like 500 stores. So Macy's has 600, Nordstrom has 500. How many stores does Bloomingdale's have?
Maybe 30 right now.
30 stores. Okay, so let's say total amongst all these guys, they have like 700 stores, right? Now watch this. How many stores does Ross have?
I guess at least 1,200.
They have 1,200 Rosses.
Yeah,
right.
right now,
Exactly.
yeah.
But like they have 1,800 if you include DD's.
Yes.
No, they have around like 1,800 stores. Okay. TJ Maxx, how much do they have?
3,600.
Yep, 3,600 stores in the U.S.
In the U.S.
We're not counting Winners. We're not counting TJX, Australia, UK. We're not counting any of them. We're just counting the U.S. 3,000 stores, right? How many stores does Burlington have?
I think between 700 to 800.
Right, but they're growing. Right now, like, pro tip, buy some Burlington stock. Burlington is a fast-growing business. This is some insider trading knowledge for you guys. Buy some Burlington stock. They're up 30% year to date. Anyways,
but Best Outlet.
Right, Bells. What about Bells?
Outlet.
What about Bells?
They got about 400.
They got like around 400.
Maybe more, 500. I don't know exactly.
So this is what I'm saying right now. Is like all the department stores put together, they can't even amount to one of these discounters that are taking over this market right now. But what is the special thing about these discounters? What is it?
They buy in stock.
They buy stock. They don't buy pre-book. Maybe they'll be nice and they'll buy pre-book here and there, but a vast majority of their business is done in the stock business. And here's the thing too, it's like one thing I'm starting to realize too is like the reason why these discounters run like this is because these discounters, they were built on buying the excess inventory of these big names, like Calvin Klein's, like the Hugo Bosses, like the Levi's, like all these guys who have extra inventory. These discounters first started off because all these giant brands would just dump all their excess old inventory, and they needed a place to dump everything and create cash flow. And that's how they started up right now. But the biggest issue is these discounters are so big, there isn't enough branded people in the entire world to fill up these stores. And so what they do is they go to small-time people like us, and they ask for our product, right? And that's kind of the trick of, like, that's kind of the way this business works nowadays. And so because of that right now is like, if you want to make it as a manufacturer, you could be the biggest hotshot designer in the world. If nobody's going to make your product, if these factories aren't going to make your product, you're never going to make a name for yourself. Like, that's the whole idea about like the way this industry is changing right now is nobody's interested in buying 150 pieces at $200 anymore. Everybody in the US is looking for a deal, right? It's the same with these buyers. So like, and so now, like let's kind of discuss how BJD like started. So you started as a pre-book business.
Yeah.
When did you start doing both? Because or does everybody do both? That's what I'm curious about. Do you think
what I'm saying is that like always, let's say I pre-book like let's say 10,000 pieces. I always cut additional 20% possible reorder. So like always I done the business 80% pre-book and the 20% extra for our stock for the reorder.
Just in case it does well.
Yeah, in case it does work, and then we do that. And then time keep changing because a lot of people they don't want to buy in advance. They don't want to wait, as I say, 6 months to 7 months. And so a lot of people say, okay, I like this, but I'm not going to buy it right now. But if you have a stock, and then I will buy later. So portion is keep shifting, 70 to 30, and the 60 to 40, and then later on, businesses keep changing, and then discounter business is stronger than ever, and a lot of even some other specialty store, they don't want to commit it in early advance. So, businesses keep changing, the model, and then, because back to 1990, even early 2000, and we done almost like I think it's even 2000 before 2005 or 10. I was doing like almost like 70% of our business done with only department store and the national chain.
2010.
Yeah, 2000 until 2000. I think it's a 2007 to 10, and then we still done like 70% was all the department store.
Who was your best buyer?
Best the customer.
Yeah,
the beauty of BJD was we are very diversified, and we done a lot of business with JCPenney. We done a lot of business with Macy's. We done a lot of business with Men's Warehouse. And then we done a lot of business. I think we even back to right now it's like the stores are out of business, but Mervyn's department store.
Yeah, I remember. You remember Mervyn's, right? Yeah.
We done so much business with the Mervyn's, and then right now it's, we know that there is a lot of specialty store chain, like back to south, southeast area, SNK. And then they got about 300 store, and then they do
like that,
and then we do Kohl's business, and then we pretty much done all the department store, and then that's our strength. Even right now, it's maybe you guys might understand the May Company. There is a May Company department store. They are merged with the Macy's later, but still like we done a lot of business with the all the May Company the stores. So again, back to 2009 and then early 2000. Year 2000, that stage.
Yeah, the 2000s, basically. 2000 to 2010, basically, yeah.
And there is a lot of department store there.
So I got to ask, were we forced to switch to stock because all these department stores are filing Chapter 11 and going out of business?
No.
Were we forced to, or did you make a choice to?
No, because I understand, whenever you've been in business for a long time, you always need to prepare for the future. I'm planning, at least, I'm looking at the next 5 years to 10 years. And then I was, beginning to feel something around 2000, before 2010, 2007 to 10, and then, I don't think so I'm going to do, continue to do department store, the business. So I switched the business to the more like a discounter, in stock. So, but discounter, they're looking for the deal, okay? Deal, they want the price because they want the turn to good. So whatever, they want the value. So, and then I decided to change my business model to more like a discounter. So I designed specially for the discounter, and then I committed big quantity. Normally I used to buy, for example, per SKU, I used to, buy like around, 1,000 pieces per color, maybe 2,000 pieces per color. But right now, whenever I targeting department store, instead of buy 2,000 pieces and 3,000, you buy 20,000. certain item, you buy 100,000. What, depends upon what you believe. If you believe, you got to take a chance. But I don't just design. I design for that special. The discount market. So whenever you do the design for the discount market, not only Los Angeles, they have a store all over the United States. So you have to design for the very how do you say, mass market, for the middle of American people. Not only you can design for the a little bit too crazy the fashion. So you have to be very sellable. So you have a mass audience. So you start to change the direction of your designing. So I started designing for the only discount market, and then we are good at that.
Yeah.
So we become a very successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's because I think it's really interesting because whenever I discuss with other people in the I just went to go see my friend.
Yeah.
I discuss with all these people and everything like that. It's nowadays I feel like the language right now, especially in the fashion industry,
Yeah.
nobody else in any other industry talks like this. It's only the fashion industry people. They're always talking about all this luxurious bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like everybody wants to do high fashion.
yeah.
Everybody wants to do all this stuff and everything like that.
Where do you going to sell it?
Exactly. That's
Where?
my first thing I always ask them.
Okay.
What's your business model? Okay, you developed this beautiful line.
Okay. Who's going to buy
Right,
your
exactly.
product?
Exactly. You developed this beautiful line. The sampling is great, you know? The sampling is great. The factory spent 5 months making you this beautiful line. Okay.
How many pieces are you going to buy?
Right, exactly. From there, it's okay. Now this factory wants orders.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get these orders? How are they going to keep their factory running with your designs? Okay. So who's going to buy it? And when I talk to people like that, they always go like, e-commerce. I'll sell to social media. I'll do I'll put it on Instagram. I'll put it on a bunch of models, and we'll sell that on Instagram, and we'll start this branding play or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, so then, what is it going to be? What's your projection then? You're going to sell 10 pieces in a month? That's pretty much what it looks like if you're selling e-commerce. Or you're going to sell 20 pieces? Which factory is going to do 20 pieces? You might as well make the pattern yourself and sew it at home. 20 pieces, it doesn't even cover your fabric minimum. And so for me right now, it's like whenever I see stuff like this, and this is the reason why I wanted to really talk about this here, is because there's more to a line than just designing beautiful product. You got to figure out your distribution model.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
figure out your production model. You got to figure out all this stuff. And the first step of figuring out all that is you got to decide, are you going to be a pre-book business, or are you going to be a stock business, or are you going to be a combination of the two? And so, let's say if you were to start over right now, what kind of business model would you have? How would you do it?
I do stock business.
You would just start automatically stock from the get-go?
Yeah.
Interesting. I wouldn't.
Easy to get in.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I understand this business, so I do stock business.
yeah, but if you screw up the first time, you're done. You're done. They're gonna take your house. You're gonna get evicted.
I do still stock business because right now it's like you spend a lot of time design the whole line, okay, and then you present to your buyer. If they don't buy, if they don't like it, and then all the time you spend it to put the designing together, develop the whole the sample is wasted.
Yeah.
Even though when I do the a pre-cut business, 50% of the line is dropped.
It's dropped. Yeah.
Okay, it's a drop. But right now, if I do business, I become smart, but I'm not going to design the big line, small line. But again, it's like if the people doesn't appreciate what you design, and if it's not for their customer, and then they're not going to buy.
Right.
And then all the things you spend time to designing and develop and make overseas travel to develop all the sample.
It's all gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So right now, look at this. You got to look at it. How many wholesalers, how many manufacturers are there right now doing pre-cut business? Solely pre-cut.
I will give you this.
Yeah.
I will give you this. I think everyone's doing right now a combination of both.
Yeah.
How many manufacturers do you think out there right now that are doing stock business like we are? There isn't a lot.
It's not a lot.
I guarantee you, in all of America here, in the men's market, in men's, less than 10. I'm telling you.
I believe so,
No,
yeah.
less than 10. Doing it the way we're doing it right now, less than 10. You know, like I was, I'm asking around a lot
Yeah.
recently because it's like I'm starting to meet more people in this industry and everything. I'm starting to ask about it and everything like that. There's a reason why, because like there aren't too many people who are willing to do this ATS business that we're doing. But like, it's oh, and also I want to touch on this before we move forward and everything too. He makes it sound really easy doing the stock business. Okay,
It's not easy.
look. He's saying it like this, right? But let me put it to you guys this way: is you see that button-down short sleeve shirt? This one right here. These are button-downs. These are knits. If you want to be a real player in the stock business, when he commits and believes in a product and commits, you know what you're committing? Per order, like a button down. You could do like 8 to 12 different patterns there, but you need to put together an order of 63,800 units total to actually really do the stock business. For that t-shirt there, you need 70,000 pieces. That's how much you're committing. You get what I mean? And so it's not like, he makes it sound like, oh, okay, you know, if you really believe in it, you just push it. You believe in it so much you want to invest 70,000 pieces. It's like saying it's literally like saying, oh, I believe in Apple as a stock. You willing to put down $100,000 for an on
I know,
Apple?
right now it's like, you ask me, do I want to do like a stock business or, a pre-cut business?
Yeah.
But I understand the business.
Right.
That's why I would say, stock business. But
it's because we get it.
Again, if anybody wants to do like a stock business starting from the beginning, you gotta have a big pocket. You gotta have a big
And
money.
you gotta have big balls.
Yeah, you gotta have a big ball.
You gotta be willing to go for it. Yeah. That's the thing.
It's not easy. As I told you before, back to when I started business, like early 1980, it was so easy, but right now it's become more difficult. The reason it's more difficult is you don't have a lot of stores to sell.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of stores to sell. Even, right now, it's okay. Just like in my old way, you set the beautiful line, and then try to set up the appointment, and then try to sell the line. A lot of people, they don't want to commit it 7 months in advance. They don't want to commit it. Even the specialty store, they don't want to commit it.
But also another reason why too is this. You know why they don't want to commit it? Because there's assholes like us who could say, oh no, we'll ship ours in 3 weeks. You get what I'm saying? It's like, as long as we're around, and this is kind of another play between the stock business, is like, it means something when you go to a buyer and basically show them the slide and basically, man, I could get this for you in 3 weeks, bro. There's a difference there. A buyer will look at that and be like, oh, it's here for me. It's here for me right now. I could test it immediately.
Yeah.
And versus someone else who basically shows them beautiful and goes, oh yeah, oh, you want this? Okay, cool. I'll place that order for you. Come back to me in 5 months. It kind of hits differently too. And it's that's kind of the huge edge that stock has, because stock, it definitely increases the burden of your financial team. It increases the burden of your business. But at the same time, it makes things exponentially easier to sell.
Yeah.
Like it provides a huge relief to your sales team, and it's a lot easier to sell a product where you could ship within 3 weeks, because basically that's telling the buyer, we believe in it. Our money's already invested. Now, are you going to step up and invest your money? It's there's kind of a back and forth that goes there that a pre-book business can't possibly replicate. Like a pre-book business relies solely on the skill of your salesperson.
Yeah.
Like if your salesperson shit, you're not going to sell anything. You're not going to make anything.
Yeah.
But like in a stock business, it's like
you got to set up the appointment.
Yeah.
If they don't know you, they're not going to set the appointment for you. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like a stock business cuts out all that, like all the politics bullshit. It cuts out all that stuff. It's literally, we're a strong manufacturer. This is what we're going to provide for you, like that. It kind of takes all the politics out of it, and it's basically, I personally believe, maybe it's my ego talking, as a manufacturer, it's like a stock business, that's where you want to be, because it's like, that's how you can showcase your best work too. Because like let's say a designer spends all his time designing something too, buyer's going to come in and strip it apart when they buy it. They're going to be like, oh, I want to take out this pocket, I want to take all this stuff out.
Yeah.
But if you're a stock business, the designer gets exactly what they want,
Yes.
And so it's like,
whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
If you like it, buy it right now.
Take it or leave it.
Otherwise, we're gonna sell to
You know
other
what?
people.
It's the Steve Jobs method. You know, Steve Jobs, he never did all the whole market testing, everything. You know where
Yeah.
they bring in a focus group and everyone
Yeah.
samples a product
Yeah.
before it breaks the market?
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, he didn't believe in that bullshit.
Yeah.
He basically says, this is the iPhone. This is the iPod. He said, this is it. There's no other options. This is it. He just sell it.
Same thing with movies.
Yeah,
Like,
same thing with movies.
you don't
Yeah.
want people taking apart.
Yeah,
movies.
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't.
I
You don't.
I
You
know
don't.
better than the audience.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's my whole thing too. And this is something I always tell my designers too. Is this is like look, we're a stock business, and so for risk management, always asking for buyer feedback. We're always asking for buyer feedback and all that and we always have a back and forth dialogue. But at the end of the day, I always tell my designers too is this: the buyers are coming to us to find out what's new. The buyers don't know. The buyers, what they do is they look at the numbers. They look at what's selling. They tell you what's selling and they tell you all this stuff. But at the end of the day, you know how the buyers find out about trends? They come and ask people like us. They bring in the designers. You know, like you sit in these meetings where a designer's involved with the buyer straight up every single time. So where do you see the business going? Where do you see the market going? They're not testing you. They're poking at these designers, asking what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a designer's job to always be updated on the trend, to always be updated on this and see where things are going.
Yeah.
And so it's like if you truly believe if you could work fast and loose and not be scared, if you truly believe in your product and everything like that, the stock business, I think in a lot of ways, it's kind of what TV streaming did for like the studio business, you know, or like what Apple did. It broke the business model of like this whole CD player, going from like digital, like Napster just destroyed the business model for them, because now it's just like by doing like a stock business, you're cutting out all that corporate bullshit. You're cutting out like, oh, what's sellable and what isn't. And what you're literally doing is you could treat it as like stocks. And so for each individual item, you look at it and you see basically the profit that you could possibly get from this one, like if you sell it at a certain price, and you decide whether it's worth it. And so you invest the money in it, and once it sells, it appreciates and you could collect it, you know? And it's like, it's a simpler business, but way harder to execute.
Yeah.
It's harder, but it's simpler, you know? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So so you said if you were to start over again, you go 100% stock business.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yeah.
I believe.
Okay, so you heard it here. Yeah.
Well, why would you go pre-cut then?
I wouldn't go pre-cut. I never said that.
Like, so-
No. I asked his input. Okay, so if you want to hear my take on it, it's so currently right now with BJD, the system that I'm running,
Yeah.
I'm running a different system than
Yeah.
when you were in charge. And so for me right now, what I do is I want to call it a hybrid method, but it's not exactly like hybrid. So it's a bit of a hybrid too. So for me, what I do is I sample a full line the same as a pre-cut. I sample the full line. I work 5 months out in advance, even before we buy. Like, you know how Brian was talking about how like you place the order in February? So I work 5 months in advance too. So basically from the moment like July starts, you know how he's saying everything hits the floor in July, right? So starting from July, like my designers are shopping. They're shopping the market to see what's doing well, what isn't doing well. They do all the research during that time. And what I literally do is I do a full development cycle. Is the same as a pre-cut business. I like sampling the full line, okay? I sample the full line, and in the meantime, what I'm doing is I'm analyzing the numbers. I'm looking at what's selling well out of everything that I'm doing right now. And so I basically see, because here's the thing about like business with the buyers too. Sure, manufacturers are at the mercy of the buyers, but at the same time, these buyers need to plan out their schedule too. If we did a certain amount of volume this year, next year, even if our line bombs, even if all of our product sucks and everything like that, the buyers already have allocated a certain amount of dollars to spend for us. It just makes sense, you know? And I mean, if the line bombs, then next year we're not going to get shit. But like, if we had a good year, there's a certain amount that they know, but that I know that they're going to allocate to us because they have no one else. So what I basically do is I tell the designers, design a full line. Design a full line, and what I'll do is I'll bring in a full line, and I will show it to these buyers. They don't have to place any orders. This is more like a sneak peek kind of thing where I show them, this is kind of the general direction that we're going. And then from there, what I would do is I would find certain groups. I would put together capsules myself, And then based on the amount that I think that the buyers are going to buy from us, plus, I mean, and this is kind of where, if I ever screw up, this is where I'm going to be screwing up in this, is I decide, okay, they're gonna buy definitely this much. And then on top of that, based on how I see the line going, and of course I do shopping of my own, I do my own research, and I have discussions with these buyers too. And from there, what I say is, I think that we're gonna grow X amount. And what I basically do is, based on the winning groups, I place my stock orders based on those. And I allocate the quantities accordingly, and basically what I do is, and so I do basically a full presentation, the same as a pre-book model, but then I tell the buyers, and I straight up tell the buyers this, I'm not taking any orders right now. I'm not taking any orders. I'm just gonna place the orders. You guys could come back in June if they're gonna buy it in July. You guys can come back in June to see what I have in stock.
So you mix both.
I mix both.
Yeah.
And then I bring it all in stock. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I do, like, let's say I'll buy like 250,000 pieces. I negotiate the best possible deal. I bring it in stock. And the reason why I don't want to sell it to them ahead of time, I don't want to fix the price. Because if I bring in the stock, a good thing, a very, very underrated thing about the stock business is, I feel like the reason why things are like this right now is because Americans always chase the money. Americans are always looking at the money and making money decisions. But when you really think about it, all these businesses, all these buyers, all these department stores are around because of their product. The people who make the product always has the control. It doesn't matter if they're the biggest buyers in the world. If you have the good product, you have power. And for me, I like bringing in stock because we could bring in the stock. If our production game is tight, we bring in the stock in May. And you know, if they bought it back in December, or if they bought it back in February, if they placed the order back in February, that price is fixed. Let's say they bought all these shirts for, I don't know, $20. That price is fixed. You have to give it to them for $20. But let's say come May, they're still going to buy it for 20. But let's say the market rate went up to 30. Then I could say, you know what? I want 30. And you know what? They're going to buy it. They're going to buy it because they need the product. And so for me, I like having that flexibility because, like, for me, like, I'm confident in the product that we put together. We think of how much time we spend finding these factories. Think of how much time we spent sourcing this fabric. Think of how much time these designers spent shopping and putting together the artwork. You know all these other assholes who are doing this stock business? I'm not going to say their names, but you all know who you are. But, like, you know, all these other assholes who are doing the stock business, I know what they do. They go to the factory and they go, I like that. Make me that. And then they get it. We don't do that. You know, we do a full development. And so for me, it's like, I know at our price, there's going to be nothing better at our price. And because of that, it gives you power. It gives you power. As long as, like you said, like, if we bring in like 100,000 stripes, and all of a sudden stripes suck, nobody wants stripes, then you're screwed. You know? Yeah, then you're screwed. Then you lose. But then, like, and that's kind of why you have to do your research and you have to be on top of, like, the trends and everything like that. But besides that, like, for me, it's like, I like the stock business. I don't think I'm ever going to go back to pre-book. Like, because I like controlling the product. Product is king. I don't care what the buyers say. I don't care who has the big pencil and who places the orders and whatever. If you have product, you are king.
If you have a good product,
you're right.
What the people likes,
You're right.
And then, you know, you can control the market.
Right. So it's that's the game that I like to play. Okay. So, anyways, thank you for joining. Do you have anything else to add?
No. You know.
You're good. You're good?
My time is over. Right now, it's your time.
Yeah. So either way, so pre-book versus stock business. Pre-book is a lot safer, but.
You know, you cannot grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to grow right now, you know, and but versus the stock business, it's a very, very risky play. But things could go horribly wrong if you don't know what you're doing, but at the same time, you get cash. So yeah. Okay, cool. Anyways, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, and yeah, see you guys later.